Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? Welcome back to another episode. Another early morning. Uh, Unfortunately, the week is not running by quick enough. Got another three topics here for y'all, man. The last time, Jesus Christ, I don't remember what I discussed last time. Uh, we discussed Russell Carrington Wilson. There's a couple other topics. So, um, what I wanted to discuss today is a couple different things. So we're gonna touch on sports. We're gonna actually touch the movie industry just a little bit. I kind of want to talk about just the kind of movies that's been coming out. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's maybe maybe I just haven't been on it as much. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just really out of touch. It's not like I'm a movie buff, whatever you call it. I'm not a super connoisseur. I don't go see every new movie just to I don't go looking on fucking rotten apples or tomatoes or cherries or whatever. Um, I don't go look on those things, but I do. I have been looking at the quality and creativity of movies, and we'll discuss that a little bit. But the first thing I want to talk about, the first thing is this week. This week is the return of the nasty man, and that nasty man is Deshaun Watson, right? So about I believe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I discussed his return, his upcoming return back, his return back to the facilities. I believe he was allowed to start, visiting the facilities again, uh, visiting the facilities at all. Um, and this week coming up, this upcoming week, it's the first week he comes back. Uh, okay, so let's discuss I guess the football aspect of this, right? So the football version is the football aspect. The Browns have been mostly middling. They had a very impressive win over the Bengals recently. The Bengals have been surging. Um, and it looks like the Browns were about to start capsizing actually. Um, the defense pulled out a very strong win. Miles, a very scary, aggravated assault Garrett. Um, he did his thing, and Nick Chubb obviously is always going to do his thing, and I just think overall it was I guess pretty good win for these guys. It was a division win as well. Jacoby Brissett has been very iffy whenever it comes to any type of tough or difficult throw. He fucks it up mostly. Um, yeah, the guy has not been very good over the past I guess 6 or 7 seasons now. It's been a while. This cat's been a backup for a while. You see, when he come in, he can get you the yardage. Um, but it seems to be like 4 or 5 weeks in a row. It's just a tremendous blunder. Like at the end of the game, it's just a bad intercept. It's just not finishing games. And it's just not getting down the field like they want him to, obviously. So now you get them nasty man. So non-nastiness aside, just taking the nasty out. He is a very good, well, not a very good. He's an incredible quarterback prospect. I don't remember what the year this is. I, I think at least the last 2 years have been taken away from him, rightfully so, of course. But I think this may be like year 6, 7 for Deshaun Watson. He hasn't been in it very long. Um, he made very subpar and average wide receivers for quite a while. For the Texans, look very good. Tight ends, the same offense, just all together. He is the. Oh, We're gonna see him put himself in the S tier, but without anything else, he's A tier quarterback. He's an S tier prospect. Um, but with $238 million guaranteed, I think you probably you need to be S tier. You think you need to be S tier. By the way, his agent, uh, the best deal you could ever cut. You found a dummy organization, um, to grant a guy who is currently serving an 11-year suspension, $240 million. It's quite incredible. Um, let's put the nasty back in. What the fuck are okay? We know bullshit fans are fickle, and there's going to be a heavy contingent that don't care, and there's going to be a strong, heavy contingent that think like this is the most even half and half type of situation you're gonna find. Excuse me, a sneeze is brewing because you have this guy who's paid out 26 so far, 26 civil suit fucking payouts. I don't know what you call them. 26 of them, right? It was told to the public that by the Browns organization, the owners, along with them putting in their daughter, so we're gonna co-sign her, that they looked through all the official documents. There wasn't anything egregious, so that's why they signed him in the first place. So obviously they lied about that. You're gonna have some fans that cheer no matter what. Like I said, because when he came back for the Texans and he just had a little training camp, he was at training camp, not came back for the Texans, but he just went for a little training camp before they cut his season. And he threw a touchdown in training camp. People are cheering, and this is fresh. So again, you're gonna have these type of people. Um, the crowd reactions is what I like to see from home because they're Browns, they're desperate, and on the road. I assume tremendous boos on the road. He may get booed more and louder than any other player in the history of the NFL. But we'll see how the home reaction will be. Um, I don't know. This is a real pathetic situation. I'll be very clear. I think this is a absolutely pathetic situation. And like this is and I'm gonna take a little a slight segue, right? So if anybody know about like wrestling the AEW thing that's going on, could it's ending, I guess. There was a situation where the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, well, the Young Bucks kicked in a CM Punk's door. Pardon me, my nose. I'm not sick. I don't know if I'm sound like motherfucking goddamn COVID. I'm fine. I should have dusted earlier. It's too early for that dumb shit. The CM Punk, well, the Young Bucks kick in CM Punk's door after he had a media outburst. He has not outburst. He had some lashing. He didn't like some things that they said about him that they said through the media, and he wasn't a huge fan of it. And he said that through after their pay-per-view, they had like a little media scrum, and he laid it all out. Right? So the Young Bucks, in response to this, they go to attack him. They go to fight him. This is real shit. They go to fight him. This is real shit. Now I'm not gonna say if they in the wrong for fighting because somebody talks some shit to you and say, "Hey, come and bring it." They went and brought it. They went and kicked the fucking door in. But their position are they are also executive vice presidents. So which means they are part of the corporate structure. Not only are they wrestlers, you are CM Punk's boss. You are the executive vice president. There are about a handful of people that are higher than you in the tier list of this company structure. For instance, that Roger Goodell ain't kicking no motherfucking doors down. Adam Silver ain't kicking no motherfucking doors down. Now these positions are not exactly equal, but they're pretty close. So the point I'm making, and the point I want to link in with the Browns are, what's the best case scenario? Who gives a fuck if the Browns win the Super Bowl? I don't give a flying fuck. Who cares if the Browns win a game? Who cares if the Browns have a winning season this year, next year, the year after that, the year after that? Who cares if they win 5 Super Bowls in a row? Honest, just an honest thing. Leave a comment. Let me know on Twitter. Send a fucking pigeon. Who cares? If Nasty Man was to hit the ground running and they don't lose a single game until February. Or they don't lose a single game at all until fucking next year. Who cares? Honestly, just let me know. Cause I could give two shits. I could give two shits to keep it convenient. I don't know what that means, but I remember Charlie Murphy saying it, so we're gonna keep it convenient. Who cares if the Browns do anything? This Sean Watson on the field. This motherfucker's paid out civil suits for being a nasty man, a very nasty man. Um, Next topic. I'm confusing myself. Kyrie. Now, Kyrie Irving. We won't take too long on Kyrie. I don't want to make this a fucking 30-minute video like I did the last one. Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving can't seem okay. Kyrie Irving is in an alternate universe. He is in the Hotep universe. There is somewhere along the way where Kyrie was convinced of a lot of shit that a lot of cats who I would say are trying to find themselves go through. They're just going through the nigga version of it, right? So let me explain to you what the nigga version of it is, right? So basically, if you are an American nigga, you kind of don't know where your roots are, your lineage are. To me personally, my lineage is the motherfuckers I know or knew, their family and their family that we discussed. And maybe we looked at pictures, we figured it out. But the 1700s really don't matter to me. 1800s really don't matter to me. The 1900s kind of don't really matter to me. But you have a lot of people, um, and again, this is for my non-Negro contingent. You may be from America, but your grandfather, grandmother, they came in from another country. You know, their grandparent. You could kind of trace those things. For us, there ain't no tracing. This motherfucker's just guessing, and this motherfucker's just making up some stuff. You got niggas that think we was the first Hebrews, black Israelites, to sit on corners. Not any corner I've seen it on the YouTubes. Sit it on corners in Philadelphia, New York, all these other mostly northern major cities I've seen, northeastern major cities I've seen, and they say this type of stuff. Kyrie is a kind of along that um elite way. Kyrie also thought that the earth was flat. What I'm saying is I think that Kyrie thinks that he is Colin Kaepernick. I think that he thinks he is on the right side of things. And when you're just living in your own head, of course, your side or this side is your side is the right side. the point is, or the thing is of him, is he's living in a complete fantasy world, right? His job, his occupation, what he does for a living, if he doesn't want to do that, then he should quit. Like, I don't want to get into what he's talking about because it's fucking stupid. It's truly like, excuse me. I'm not saying it's stupid in a dismissive, idiotic. Oh, he's just saying stupid stuff. No, this is like he's crazy. Like this is actually fucking stupid. Is what I mean. Like he's a stupid motherfucker. Like what he's saying, it just makes no sense. It's not a logical things that he's saying. This is like people who think Illuminati and like people are being sacrificed. And this is Alex Jones type of thinking. It's just the nigga version. Now, rarely do the white contingent, non-black contingent, get to see this side of niggas. But for a lot of niggas, this is like a phase. It just so happens that these niggas is extremely wealthy. Kanye West, we'll slide into him. He's more of a polarizing figure. When he says things, no matter what the quote is, it travels. Whether it's positive, negative, whatever it is. That's what polarizing figures are. People are gonna disagree or agree, or everything they say becomes a major quote of the day or the week. Polarizing figures, they are the actual main characters, no matter what genre or sport or whoever um that is. So I think Kyrie is a fucking idiot, and he's going through this because he went through the Native American. All of a sudden, he's Native American. He's doing sage in the locker rooms. I understand that, and I'm not shitting on that. Phil Jackson used to do sage in the locker room. Shaq talks about this. It's on the YouTubes. It's on the internet. Shaq is talking about Phil Jackson coming in with the sage and it's clear out there. He said, "Oh, but it smelled like weed to me." Phil Jackson did this 20 years ago. It just seems out of nowhere. Again, this is this is the hotel. This is a nigga phase. What's these people? 5 percenters and all. This is a nigga phase. He's just speaking about it and talking about it so matter of factly. It's just kind of wild. It's just kind of like he doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's not saying anything. You feel what I'm saying? Like him, we could say Kanye too. They're not actually talking about anything. This oh, Jewish people run the world. What the fuck is everybody talking about? Kanye West is in debt. All his paperwork is fucked up. His whole life, his situation, his old lady already left him. He got 3 kids. Uh, he's fucked up. So he the type of nigga. If I'm fucked up, everybody's gonna be fucked up with me because I need to get out this situation. So I'm gonna just fuck everything up to get myself out. That's what Kyrie's doing. He's attempting it. He's trying it. But the Nets just so happen to be complete pussies, or they just don't give a fuck. It's either one. It's no in between. It's literally no in between. And I'm the look when it comes to these type of situations, nigga saying stuff like this. Hey, like what was the situation with I don't know if it was Jay Crowder or it was Man, what's the other nigga with the dreads? Niggas with dreads can't hoop. I can't fucking I can't think of his name. But he said some white boy to Luka Doncic. Like Luka Doncic, motherfucking Slovenia somewhere, so he don't know what this means. To us, this bitch ass white boy, that don't even mean nothing. But it was taken that way. What Kyrie is saying is like fucking a million times like it. What he's even retweeting or whatever he's doing, though. Like retire and just do this. But you can't be part of a business. Well, obviously, I guess you can and just get away with this. I guess you can. And I'm sorry. You can't be a part of business and get away with this because again, the Nets are either fine with this, which I think they are. The owner, whoever that dude was, who made some tweets. We shouldn't disrespect anybody, especially religion, and I'm serious about this. Okay, so what the fuck you gonna do? Answer is he did nothing. Um, and if you do it now, it's already too late. You should have handled this shit. This shit should have been handled last year with the vaccines. So you're either a pussy and you're putting all your other talent at risk, which is why James Harden say, "Fuck this, I'm out." We playing this nigga playing half the games. It's a huge distraction. You got a lot of guys who ain't got Kyrie money. You got a lot of guys who's trying to make their own way. And all this is a distraction. Either fix it or let's move on. I suggest you fix it. Let's get back to the last part. Let's get to the last part. The last part I want to talk about. I'll try to stay brief with this. Movies and the creativity of movies. Right? So which let's go to the board real quick. Irishman director. What's the director for the Irishman? What's his name? Martin Scorsese, right? So Martin Scorsese, he made the Irishman. I've seen the Irishman. The Irishman was pretty good. Martin Scorsese had a lot of comments about the Marvel kind of movies and this genre. I guess for the last 10 to 12 years of superhero movies being the main genre. There've been other movies in between, John Wicks, etc., that have been cult classics. They fall in uh that we like and we love. The Marvel movies have been the biggest, right? So there are a lot of quote unquote classic filmmakers, air quotes. I think Spielberg says something that are just not. They think it brings down the creativity, right? So Martin Scorsese, most recently I could think of, he did the Irishman, which is 4 hours. By the way, 4 hours. And let me go. I'm trying to find his. He's done so many films. Obviously, you can't shit on his fucking directing talents. He's one of the greatest directors of all time, and I'm not here to do that at all. Actually, um, I'm just looking for his movies. I'm sorry, I should have had this up. Maybe on Scorsese movies. Now, in the late '80s, early '90s, we were going through, and by we, I mean the American society was going through the end of the mafia. And the end of the mafia's reign was pretty much through the fucking entire 1900s. Really, it started in the 1920s all the way to the early 90s when John Gotti and Sammy the Bull and all these guys, Gambinos, Columbo's families, those were like the last um, of the big mafia families, right? If you remember during that time, I was a baby. back then, so I don't remember. But we remember those movies. Casino, Goodfellas, uh how many Mafia, what's the Untouchables, which is mafia movies based off like the 30s, Al Capone days. Those movies are a lot more recent. For instance, Goodfellas is based off of Henry Hill. Goodfellas came out in the early 90s. Henry Hill and all these guys, they got wrapped up and locked up late 80s. So these are films that are fairly recent. Like they're not like 10 years apart from the actual incidents. But we got a lot of 'em. I'm trying to and I can only I'm trying to mafia movies in the 90s. A Bronx Tale. Um what's the movie with De Niro and Johnny Depp? Um Not De Niro, Pacino and Johnny Depp. That was Donnie Brasco. Uh, I say Casino. Trying to think of like these are all classics. I'm naming all classic movies. I'm naming all classics here. I'm not discrediting none of them. They're all classic movies. I'm just trying to think of more just offhand because I actually wasn't going to make this point. I say the Bronx Tale. You could say kind of Carlito's Way, kind of, almost. Um, and there's other kind of subtle movies. There'll be a bunch of movies that we just don't remember because maybe they were box office flops. There's the Godfather movies, one, two, three. Um, there are a lot of the Hoffa movie with Jack Nicholson. Uh, like all of these movies, and there's also like I would say fake mafia. King of New York is like it's mafia-ish esque, I guess. Um, there's a lot of mafia movies. There are a lot of violent crime movies. For instance, we could think of all the movies like Boys in the Hood, early '90s, Menace to Society. Just there's just so many. The thing a lot of people just kind of forget is that's just the era of film. Film always have eras. The Marvel superhero era, it was mainly just two callers, the main two Marvel and DC. But that's just an era. There's always eras of films. In the 2000s, we had like the kind of the what's the fucking like what's the You've Got Mail and all these, Meg Ryan, fucking Ryan Reynolds, romance comedy movies. A lot of them suck. You got a lot of those American Pie, Harold and Kumar type movies. That's a lot of the early 2000s. The early 90s was more mafia, very violent movies, Scarface, movies like this. Late 90s, I can't think of what the fuck we was watching. Late 90s to kind of the era kind of broke up. Late 90s, mid to late 90s was a lot of action films. A lot of Bruce Willis, a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger, a lot of Sylvester Stallone, and them trying to make action people too. Well, and not make, I'm about to say John Claude Van Damme, he's not them trying to make, he was made. But we had that era too. You had a lot of fucking uh karate movies, the 70s. There's always eras. Movies have eras. So for Scorsese and Spielberg and other guys, and I can say Spielberg, he makes a lot of different movies. Scorsese does as well. So I can see how they can have a gripe, but you can't have a gripe with the era. It just is what it is. You were in your actually they've spanned it across several decades of this. But they were in a specific era when they did a lot of storytelling, but it wasn't their stories. It's the same thing. These mafia movies, the Goodfellas, the casinos, um, Godfather, that shit is all based off real shit. They're not exactly, and I'm not saying they haven't before, but those most popular movies, it's not like they were telling original stories either. Again, they're great films. Just like these Marvel films, Endgame and all that shit, that shit was amazing. They're great films, but just in different ways. So I want to talk about that to talk about the era that we're in now, which is the weakest one, and it is the remake era. I think that a lot of um I think filmmakers and why this era is such a and people think that the movie era previously killed the movie industry as far as just going in with the kind of pandemic throw a lot of things in. Um but they think that everything is all done. That's all people want to watch. No. This because like I said, John Wick's it's all they're classics. People love those fucking movies. This era is the remake era. We get a lot of remade shows. They bring a lot of shows back. That 70s show, that whoever, they bring a lot of shows back because they're mistaken the last era as a nostalgic era. And for some people, it was. But it's also the first superhero era that we've ever had in mainstream really history. Where kind of the nerd costume cosplay just buttered up with mainstream. And there's always and that's how it is. There's subgenres and they butt up to mainstream for a while and then disappear. With how advertising and marketing works, every company tries to track something. That's why we have, people selling information. They're just buying information because they want to know how you think so they can sell something to you. They're giving us remakes. That's why the Sonic remake was such bullshit. And they just threw it out there because, oh, they like remakes. No, those Marvel films were just good movies. The majority of them were good movies. So, like, they're just some of my favorite movies in general. I'm not living any type of nostalgic thing, nigga. I didn't dress up as Wolverine as a kid. We didn't do none of that. I didn't have costume, nigga. I had a mask. I could have been Rey Mysterio in 1997. I could have been Juventud Guerrero. It's whatever we had the money for. So I don't. There's a lot of people that are just not that stuck on it. They're just good movies. So I think this remake era and this redo era is them using their data to look at the last 10 or 12 years and they think, oh, that's what they want. It's not the case. Um, and I think we'll probably be going another 6 years before they realize that that's not the fucking case. So I just want to be very brief when it came to the movie eras. I think I was brief, but we're not. This is not a nostalgic kick. The Marvel and whatever stuff. That's not a nostalgic kick. They were good movies. They had a little touch of nostalgia, and it's larger than life cartoon characters in these huge films with our favorite actors as well. It wasn't random nigga. If this was them trying to make new stars with random niggas with Marvel films, it wouldn't have worked. It's our favorite stars also playing their favorite characters as well. And also you had some spectacular casting. There is no other Deadpool. If Ryan Reynolds, if he was to retire, Deadpool retires with him. I wouldn't watch another Deadpool. There probably won't be another Wolverine. They're gonna have a hard time dealing with Captain America. We're gonna see how Black Panther does. These were just perfect castings, perfect times, big movies, big budgets. You know what big budgets means. It's just the best. It's the best quality. So I think this era of movies we're gonna really suffer. I think we're suffering already. Um, and I think we'll just be, continue to get good TV shows, and I guess good anime. I haven't kept up with anime like I wanted to. I'm a jackass, but I just want to kind of discuss the movie industry because I see a lot of remakes, a lot of old TV shows. Like I understand, I think that '70s show coming back. Like I remember that was on TV, but like who the fuck, dog? Like when that '70s show came out, we were close. We kept it felt like in the '90s, we were still real close to the '80s and '70s. You can grab them. There was a lot of reference to the '70s in the Vietnam War. I remember all those Vietnam. They were still making Vietnam War jokes and '70s jokes in the '90s. So for that '70s show to come up, I feel like there's a closer connection with social media. There's so many different things on TV and so many different things to learn. I, I don't know if a newer generation. Well, you probably don't need a newer generation to watch that show to make it successful. That's probably a thing. So I just wanted to discuss that. Let me get off of here. We're getting very just uncreative things, and I don't like it. So the nasty man returns. Kyrie is still playing basketball. Just quit. Just quit. The y'all not gonna win a championship anyway. You're not gonna win anyway. And the season tickets already paid for. It's all right. Y'all make more money anyway. The billions is there. I know you're trying to wring out that water and get every dollar you can, but have some fucking pride. And movies have been absolutely stinking up the place. And I am kind of going to throw in a couple Marvel movies in there because they are genre chasing as well. I know, proven product. It's time to switch it up with Thor. I know. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about Marvel also being in this rut movie wise, in my opinion. I'll holler.